Hello guys, this is Mr. A Lot More, your senior Udaku reporter. And of course, A Lot More is coming. I am coming to you live from downtown Westlands, mtu wangu. Niko hapa kupiga story na the CEO and founder Kenya Airlift Program. He lives in the US, he's Kenyan. Bila nimeona ni kama anatokea kule bwana, nataka mera bwana. So tutakuwa tukipiga story naye tujue mambo iko namna gani, kisha tuendelee na kazi kama kawaida. Bob, mbona umecheka?
Ni hiyo pati ya miraa.
Utavuta hiyo mic kidogo ukaribishe mahali huko.
Okay.
Yes, Eva.
Niko poa?
You're good?
Niko salama.
Ama hutoki huko? Bwana, unatoka huko?
Mimi? Mimi natoka Meru bana.
Wewe nakula miraa?
Si ndio? Sana.
Lakini unaumia sana. Wakati uko US na US hakuna job, unafanya nini?
Well, nimekuwa huko for so long nilisahau. I used to do that when I was here. So many years back.
Okay.
Over 15 years. So kutoka niende huko vitu zingine tu nasahau.
Kindly do the honors. Introduce yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. So my name is Bob Mwiti, originally from Meru County. So huko ndio nimelelewa. So I grew up in a place called Gikomene Primary School. I grew up in a place called Gikomene. I went to a school called Gikomene Primary School. Shule tu ya Zamatu kawaida. And then after hapo I went to Nkobo High School. Nimesikia Nkobo?
Nimesikia sana. Naendanga hapo Chuka. Hospitali inaitwa Komarok Modern. Na kuna watu wanatoka Nkobo wanakuja mpaka hapo.
Yeah. So hiyo ndio shule nilienda, Nkobo High School, and then after that I got an opportunity kwenda University of Nairobi. And then later on I went to Strathmore University. Alafu kutoka hapo ndio nikaenda majuu. So I went to the US in 2011 to pursue an MBA. Yeah, so story yangu, growing up, I grew up really like a typical kid with my grandparents. My dad and my mom waliniona ukiwa high school. My dad alikuwa form 2. And then mother alikuwa amemaliza class 7 and class 8 those days.
Ndio ulizaliwa? Wow.
Ndio alilipata. Yeah, so I grew up not so I grew up not really knowing my dad. Mother aliolewa mahali kwingine. So I grew up with my grandparents. Typical village kind of life. Yeah, so then later on in life, when I was in form 4, that's when my dad came into my life. But by that time my dad alikuwa ameenda majuu. So alikuwa ameenda UK. And yeye ndiye alini introduce history ya kutoka Kenya kwenda majuu, and that's how actually I found myself now starting that process ya kutoka Kenya ndio niende huko.
Okay.
So initially nilikuwa nataka kwenda UK because that's where he lived, but things didn't work out the way I wanted them to work out because I was denied visa so many times. Denied visa
the
4
UK
times.
visa.
UK, mara 4. So I just decided to continue with school here because nilikuwa nataka kwenda huko kufanya undergraduate. But since nilikuwa na nyuma visa nika decide kufanya undergrad hapa.
Okay.
So nika shift kutoka Nairobi University nikaenda Strath. Na huko ndio limalizia, and then after hapo we just decided as a family tujaribu tuone kama naweza enda US. Na hapo sasa ndio nilijaribu, I tried and got the visa on my fifth attempt trying to get the visa, nikapata US. Yeah,
so this is your family trying all means to get you in the US.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, so my dad, so after trying for the UK, we decided we try for the US, and then I got the US visa in 2009. And I went there to pursue my master's. Yeah, so I went to a school called Indiana University of Pennsylvania. It's a small public state university located in a state called Pennsylvania, in a small city called Indiana. Yeah, so I went there to pursue a Master of Business Administration, MBA. Did a concentration in professional accountancy, graduated in 2011. And then after that, like the way normally kienda hizi majuu you're always wanting to look for opportunities that are
Yes.
there once you're done with school, because school can be very expensive.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go out there and you want to recoup what you invested in.
Yes.
So it was the same case with me. So I just decided, I tried to look for opportunities there. And after I graduated in 2011, I got an opportunity to work as a systems analyst. Yeah, so I worked there for about 5 years as a systems analyst, working for Fortune 500 companies. And then kutoka hapo, I decided to get into entrepreneurship journey. Na hapo ndio nilianzisha my own consulting company. And around that time, the Kenya Airlift program was born. Yeah.
Okay, now tell us about the Kenya Airlift program. I understand the office is here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, in Westlands.
What does it do?
So the Kenya Airlift program basically is an education financing scheme that helps bright Kenyan students to pursue graduate studies abroad. I formed the program out of my own challenges, going abroad. Like I said, I had challenges to do with visas. That process was very long for me. And also I figured out that a lot of African students out there, they struggle so much to get the opportunities to go and study abroad. One, issues to do with the cost of studying there. Typically, for example, for a master's program, it can cost you about 5 million Kenya shillings. Yes, to pursue a master's program, and that's a program that takes you about 18 months. So, and that's just the tuition and living expenses. Also, part of the other cost that normally a student would incur is the cost of relocating to the other side. Let's say, for example, even if you have a scholarship on the other side, even for you to move from here to the other side requires money, and that in terms of applying to schools, taking care of the exams there's some exams that you have to do to get through the process. Some exams called GMAT and GRE. There is cost of something called evaluation of transcripts, something called visas, student visas, something called service. Of course, even the cost of the flight. Like for example, right now we are trying to book tickets for students who are relocating in August, and tickets range between 1,500 to almost 2,000, depending with where you are going in the US.
Yes.
Of course, also there is a cost to do with when you get there, how do you get to the school, cost to do with the insurance, cost to do with medicals that you have to do. So that process of relocating requires money as well.
Okay.
And what we do in the Kenya Airlift program is that we finance students. So instead of you having to worry about all the millions that is needed for you to study on the other side, we can be able to finance you that.
Okay.
And also even this process of going, since it requires also a lot of money, typically about maybe 5,000, you don't really have to worry about all that money. So normally what we do is anybody who gets into the program, they contribute something small. Usually it's 1,100 as a regular student. You get into the program, you go through all the processes.
You're talking about
you don't
dollars.
have to worry about that. Yeah, $1,100, yes. Si Kenya shillings.
Oh,
Dollars, yeah.
Nilikuwa dhani Kenya shillings ni sahi.
Mingie sahi.
Sahi. When I was reading your biography, I noticed that you finance relocations.
Yes.
Tuition, and also living expenses.
Correct.
That is someone who was flew from Kenya to the US. Ameshafika.
Yes.
I mean, what happens? Tupeleke tu pole pole for someone who is interested. Aweze kuelewa akitoka hapa Kenya atatoka hapa aje. Afike atakaa wapi. Tuition itakuwaje, hizo living expenses, vitu kama hizo, because I know living in the US is very expensive.
Very expensive.
Please.
So like I said, it's true that we relocate. I mean, we finance the relocation, tuition, and living expenses. So once you come into the program, you have to do the exams that you have to do called GMAT or GRE, depending with which course you want to pursue. If you are going to if you are planning to pursue a business, kind of like a business program, which is usually domiciled in a business school, you are supposed to do an exam called GMAT. GMAT means Graduate Management Admissions Test. Ama kama unataka kufanya course nyingine unafaa ufanye GRE, Graduate Records Examination. So once you do that and you pass, you go through the process where we start the process, admitting you to applying for the schools that you want to go to. We have a big career advisory team hapa advise which program that you want to do and all those things. And then sasa ukipata admission, then sasa we now source for your funding. So basically what we do as a company, hiyo process ya kwenda hiyo relocation, we normally finance it directly through the company. And it's typically actually out of the contributions that the student make. Your 1,100, we use that money for us to be able to support those who are relocating. Then ya kusoma pande ile, so now we work with financing partners when you wanatupea hiyo pesa. We actually get financing up to $100,000 per student, $100,000.
Wow.
Per student. Yes. So once umepata admission ya shule, we help you with the funding ya sasa ya kusoma, and then once you get the approval ya your funding, and that's what you use now so that you can apply for visas ya kusoma ya student visa. So your student visa also, what we do is we have like a training program that you have to go through for you to get to know exactly what you need to, the kind of like questions that you're gonna face, and how you're gonna need to answer those questions at the embassy. Because one of the major challenges that people face in this whole process ya kwenda majuu, it's basically issues to do with visas. Even in our program.
Actually, let me ask concerning the visas.
Yeah,
kwa sababu I know so many people have issues kupata your visa ya kwenda United States. As a program, as a company, as Bob yourself, how do you ensure someone anapata your US visa? Because hapo ndio tashwishi iko.
Hapo elephant in the room.
Yes.
The white elephant in the room. So when it comes to visas, and I always like emphasizing this to anybody who is out there really interested in going and studying abroad, no one has control on the outcome of the visa. It's the government of the other side. Okay, but the best that you can do is basically prepare yourself very well and get to know what exactly is needed of you when it comes to answering the questions. Because what the US embassy really what the visa officer want to see is whether you are actually a genuine student. And we put in a lot of effort. We have visa advisory officials within the program, and even personally having suffered so much when it came to visas, since I was denied visas so many times, I know the pain that people face when it comes to visas. So we put in a lot of effort in terms of training our students on how to be able to approach that visa interview at the embassy. But at the end of the day, it's never guaranteed. Yes. So even in the program, we get students getting denied, but at least when you come through the program, you have higher chances of getting approval. And then I always tell students, like, even if you get denied once, it doesn't mean that your dream stops. So you have to keep on applying.
Yes.
You get students, many students get, of course, visas at the first attempt, but we get students getting visas at the second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt. Kama mimi nilipata at the fifth attempt. So even anybody who is out there, if you really want to go through this journey, you have to be prepared to take as many attempts as possible. So that's usually the issue with visas. So once you get the visa, then we normally facilitate, we book your air ticket, and then after that, once you get on the other side, we arrange the pickup from the airport to the universities, and also kwenye utakaa. And when it comes to accommodation in the US, is very expensive, as you said. Typically what we normally do, because there's usually two sets of accommodation that you can have. There's usually accommodation on campus, and there's also accommodation off campus. So we normally source for accommodation for our student off campus because it's much more cheaper. Off campus accommodation, we get accommodation where you live with other students, because ukikaa peke yako, it can be very expensive, like an apartment. So normally tunatafutanga shared accommodation, and for that shared accommodation you could pay depending with where you are going. If you are going to like places like New York, it can be very expensive. Places like San Francisco, very expensive. I live in the city of Tampa, Florida. Also, it's not that cheap, but typically, generally, you need around $700 to stay in a shared accommodation with other students. Of course, as you need the deposits, for you to start living in that apartment, lease deposit and all that. So that also, we take care of that as a program, as part of your relocation. And then now, the other financing that I talked about, the other one for tuition and living expenses, which you use external lending partners that we are partners with, that funding comes directly to the school. Upati hiyo pesa ukiwa pande, inakuja directly to the school, and then the school cuts whatever they need to cut for their tuition. Then the remaining amount you are given as a student, and that's what you use now for your living expenses. Yeah, so in terms of other ways of how we finance the students, we also have partnerships with universities that we work with, about 25 of them. And actually, quite a number of those universities also, they've given us scholarships or tuition fee waivers. Not necessarily everything, because sometimes when you talk about scholarships, students want to say, hey, no one attack a scholarship. Everyone wants to study for free.
Yes.
Yeah, but they give us tuition fee waivers. There are some universities that give us, for example, even like up to $1 million plus Kenya shillings. But you see now, the whole cost of studying for a master's program could be up to 5 million. So if a university is giving you 1 million, you still have to figure out where to get the other 4. So the other 4 we finance is through the student loan. And by the way, that student loans that we normally give our students, they are usually unsecured. So you don't need any collateral or anything of the sort, unless credit yako pande iko mbaya. And by the way, you get a lot of those students wenye saa zingine wanataka kuingia kwa program, lakini credit hapa walipangi zinaitangwa ni mshwari ama ni nini, pesa tu kidogo, unaona mtu ako na like so moja hajailipa. Yeah, so you get those cases, but that's really how we finance the program. And also part of what we do is to support students. So we've built a huge community on the other side. So you're not really on your own, because you see, in as much as everybody is usually excited about going abroad, it can be very lonely. If you're there on your own, you have to figure out things, those kind of things. And then also even how to figure out when you are done with school, uta transition aji, because once you are done with school, when you go on the other side, you are going there as a student. But remember also, most of the people out there, they want to go and look for opportunities that are there.
Greener pastures.
Yeah, greener pastures. So the biggest question is, how do you normally transition? Kama venye sasa nilienda as a student, how was I able to stay there? Because I've been living there for 15 years. So how was I able to do that? So a lot of people are not able to do that. It's not like very straightforward. But normally what we do is we guide students through the process. Once you are done with school, how do you come up with your profile in terms of, putting yourself out there in the market for potential employers to be able to find you, and, how do you handle job interviews? Because unajua tukitoka huku, hata accent is very heavy, saa zingine unaongea kufanya interviews zingine hata unaanguka tu na si hatujui vitu, ni venye hata kuongea and all those things, so hata hawakuelewi, so we help students in that, all those things. So it's pretty much a very, how do I put it, it's not like a one, because sometimes when you talk about the program, people just think we are just taking students, but actually it's a whole thing. Yeah, it's a whole package. Financing, nini kila kitu. Yeah, so that's really what we do. So kama saa hizi sasa, for example, tuko na event tuko nayo at the Sarova Pan-Afric. It's called the Kenya Alif Program Annual Luncheon. So normally what we do is those students who get visas, we normally hold this luncheon. We invite leaders in the education sector. Also we invite our partners, like for example, we have an event coming up in 2 weeks time, and we have our partner professors from our universities that we work with on the other side. We have a few leaders from Upper Kenya wanakuja. We invite the students wenye wamepata visa ama wenye wako through the process, tuna invite, tuna have fun, tunakula pamoja, and then sasa tunaanza kuwapeleka airport. So kutoka next month we'll be very busy. For the whole month. Right now, we expect to have about 150 when watakuwa naenda August. Yeah.
When did you say the program started?
So we started the program in 2018.
2018.
Yeah, we started very slowly, by the way, because those early days when we started, we didn't have any. Typically when you start something and you don't have any success stories, people tend to doubt a lot.
Yes.
And even within this industry that we are in, a lot of people get scammed. People lose money, and actually mostly hata si kuskamiwa as such, because like I said, there's aspects of the process that you have no control of, especially visas. Kama me, by the way, even I've been labeled scammer with some people out there at some point, because of the fact that mtu akiingia kwa program and maybe as if they don't succeed, there's people who have an issue with that, and already ametoa pesa yake, so some feel like they didn't get value for what they really wanted. And that's also why I always like emphasizing that this process of going abroad, whether you are through the Kenya Relief program or whether you are doing it on your own, it requires money, but also at the same time also it requires a lot of patience and resilience.
Okay.
Because ukiwa denied visa once, alafu you give up, you see now you've lost whatever resources that you put in.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's very, very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about the success rate.
Yes.
Because you've said people have labeled you a scammer.
Yes.
And there are people who have tried.
Yeah.
Yakashindikana. What is the success rate of this thing? And again, on the program, how many students do you have currently?
So we started in 2018. Very slowly. In fact, 2018 we enrolled 3 students only into the program.
The whole year?
The whole year, imagine.
Okay.
The whole year. Start a business and then only 3 clients. It's one of those things that you don't want to do. You can very easily, get disappointed. Then 2019 we had 12. Like every month, 1 student. 2019. Then 2020, COVID came. So no one is traveling.
Like took a shutdown.
Yeah, 2020. So the program started picking again in 2021, 2022, then 2023 last year. So far we have about 500 students who are currently in the US. We have about 2,000 students in the program through the process. I get a lot of people asking, yes, you have 2,000 students in the program, but you're saying you have like 500 in the US. Why the numbers don't do, the math is not mathing.
Yes.
Right? So what happened is, because that process, the process of going itself actually takes time. So you may find that in as much as typically as it takes a regular student who joins the program to relocate within a year. That's like best case scenario. 1 year, because kuna hizo exams zenye utafanya nini alafu you go through the school application process, hizo vitu zote alafu sasa upate visa. Now we are assuming you pass those exams at the first attempt, you get the visa at the first attempt, yani kila kitu inaenda the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
But in reality it doesn't work like that. So you find mtu anaweza ingia kwa program, ufanye exam uanguke, then you have to repeat. It takes time to redo those tests again. Then also maybe uingie kwa program alafu usipata visa at the first attempt, repeating, going for the visa again. You can't just get denied visa today and go next week again.
Yes.
Visa hapo embassy watakuuliza what has changed. So ideally you are supposed to go like after 4 months. So unaona hiyo process inakuwa refu.
So in a year you can go only 3 times.
Yeah, so you can go only 3 times. Yeah, so you see that it can take, you have students who takes maybe even 2 years, even 3 years. I have a student actually who is processing his visa now. Na alingia hii program to 2021. So that's one of the reasons why you find like we have. And of course also because we just, the program really picked up in the last, maybe let's say 2 years. Yeah, so most of those guys who came in the last 2 years, they are kind of like now in the process of getting these visas and all that. Yeah, so you have about 2,000 and then about 500 on the other side. These are guys we expect to take around 150 to the US.
Okay.
It's usually our biggest intake. Also, you have another intake that is usually in January, but that's usually not our biggest intake. Here August ndio tunapelekanga watu wengi because that's really when the schools normally take so many students.
You seem to be so passionate about this whole thing.
Yes.
Watu kwenda US.
Yes.
What is the best case yenye unaweza peana? Maybe kuna mtu ashai kuja na certain story nini?
Yeah, so I'm passionate about this whole thing because it really reflects my own personal story. Having struggled through the process of going, in as much as, going abroad, at that point my dad was in my life and he supported me. As I said earlier, like, I grew up in poverty. Like me face poverty ile ukweli kabisa. Many Kenyans out there who really suffer because they don't have the finances that is needed to come to the US. That's why I'm always passionate about this whole thing. Yeah. In terms of the cases that we have, we've really impacted a lot of students. And I always see, like, for every one student that we manage to take to the US, we are not just only supporting that student alone, but rather actually we are changing the community, because nikichukua mtoto kutoka village yenu, huyo mtoto atasaidia watu wengine na wengine na wengine. We have cases of those students who succeed, they go there, they are bringing their families now, their spouses, because actually a student visa allows you to bring your spouse, your kids, wako huko wote. So we have those cases, and then also we have others who have already graduated and started getting jobs there, working in really nice, nice jobs and good, very good companies. Yeah, so that's really what really pushes me to keep on doing this. Now, also something about the program that maybe I need to mention is that we've with the success that we've had with the program, especially in the last 2-3 years, we've gotten a lot of interest outside of Kenya. And with that, we've been having a lot of students. Like, for example, we have students from Togo, Tanzania, students from Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, who are in the program because they want to be part of us, even though I started the program as a Kenyan program. So what we are trying to do is right now we are trying to rebrand the program and accommodate typically those other African students, so that they also feel part of it. So right now we are rebranding the program into the International Scholars Program. I think you've seen it even in our office. We are changing it to that. I can
actually see it.
Yeah.
Kama kamera itafika hapo.
Yeah, we are changing to International Scholars Program, and it's been necessitated by the fact that we are having other students from other countries who are interested in the program.
Okay.
So in the process right now, hopefully maybe by January next year, we'll have fully transitioned into International Scholars Program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. You've been recognized, I think, 3 times. That is according to your biography, 2019, 2021, and 2023 last year.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
You are now smiling.
Yeah, so because of the work that I do, I've been recognized out there in the US. There's an organization based in the US called ISEP, International Education, something to do with professional something.
Bele. Yes.
Yeah, there is an organization called ISEP. That one recognized me in 2021 because of the work that I do with the program. Also, I was recognized as one of the top 50 Kenyans living in the US in 2018.
Top 50?
Yeah, top 50.
The bar is too high.
And then actually last year, I was named among the I think the top Kenyans living in the diaspora. And hiyo list ilikuwa na akina Lupita Nyong'o, akina some of these big guys. Yeah, so I mean, you see, because this program is not as easy as it sounds. It has a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
And seeing somebody out there actually recognizing what you do within the community makes you also want to keep on doing it, because sometimes it can be very, very challenging. Yeah.
How much could you say you've will I say invested, you've facilitated, you financed the students who are in the US? You've said you have over 500 when you're kule.
Yeah.
How much maybe in Kenya shillings?
Yeah, so until now, since inception, we've been able to facilitate, including those who are living now for August, almost 3 billion in student loans. That's for tuition and living expenses. Then also we facilitated almost around $1 million, which is around 100 million in terms of the relocation cost, and that's also unsecured loan to the students. Also, because we have partnerships with the universities that we work with, they normally give us these scholarships or tuition fee waivers. Right now, about maybe 500 million Kenya shillings that has been issued out there, these are really big numbers, but also it's only possible because of the fact that we have partners on board. It's not just me, because sometimes, someone might see me out there and they think, hey, you know what? Yeah, they are helping, but also it's a lot of effort from these guys. We get financed behind the scenes for the biggest chunk of this through, for tuition and living expenses through our lending partners, and of course with our universities that we work with, and then the others directly through the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've said there are people who are going this August.
Yes.
How many?
We expect to do around 150. The students are still, because the challenge that we're having at the embassy not now, it's always there, is actually getting those visa dates. Sometimes you have the admission, but part of that visa date, it's almost impossible. So you find like most of our students, they are like, staying up late at night trying to find dates to go to the embassy. So, but we expect about 150 by August. Yeah. So our event for the it's the luncheon that we normally hold, it's gonna be on 27th at the Sarova Pan of this month. Yeah, and we have invited around 200 students to the event, and a few leaders here and there to grace the occasion.
Okay.
Yeah, so I hope utakuwa hapo. Kuja tukule kanyama.
Nitakuja tukule mbuzi.
Tukule mbuzi, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so after that, then now we start. This is usually our most busy season in terms of, seeing them off at the airport and all those things. So yeah, we're going to be very, very busy in the next 1 month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to someone who is interested maybe to join the program, what do you tell them? 1 minute.
Yeah, so for me, what I can
think
really...
you should now face the camera. This one.
Oh, this one, eh?
Yes.
So for me, what I can really tell anybody who is out there who want to go and study abroad, not necessarily to get into the program, but just to go and study abroad, is to be patient and be resilient, because this process is it's not usually as straightforward as people think. There's a lot of, things that can delay you through the process, and sometimes, once you've invested a lot of resources in terms of money and all that, and you give up so easily, you're gonna lose everything. So my advice is, you just need to be patient, and then you have to be resilient in case things don't work out. If you go to the embassy, get denied a visa, dust yourself up, and then keep on going, because even me personally, I didn't get it at the first attempt, so I got it at the 5th attempt. So that's all I can say. Yeah. People
maybe would like to engage with you on your socials. I think I've seen on Jalango TV and TV KBC.
Yeah.
TV 47, Radio 47, Spice FM. I think uko kila mahali.
Nakuanga
uko kila mahali.
Nakuanga kila mahali on social media. I'm on Facebook. I go by Bob Mwiti. I have like a following on Facebook actually of about maybe 150, 60,000.
That is following, eh? That is huge
I'm trying
following.
to compare with you.
That is huge following.
Yeah, so yeah, I get a lot of people who are interested in what we do, so they follow me. And not even most, like it's like all over Africa, you know, because I think that people tend to see all these things that we are doing and they're interested.
Yes.
So I'm on Facebook, Bob Mweti, Instagram, Bob Mweti. I think I'm also on TikTok. My team always posts things there. X, I'm on there as well. On YouTube, we are there as a company. We just our YouTube was known as the Kenya Airlift Program, but we just recently changed to the International Scholars Program. So if you're out there and you're interested to see, you know, stories of our beneficiaries and what we do, you know, life abroad, what those guys experience there, you know, all those things, they can go to our YouTube and they can check it out. In terms of our website, anybody who is interested in, you know, finding out what we are doing, they can go to our website. Currently, it's www.kenyaairliftprogram.com. Program, you spell it as program. Go there, they can download our program handbook and then go through it, get to see what we work with. Our program is mostly, our program is mostly for master students, and we focus mostly on STEM programs. STEM basically means science, technology, engineering, and math. You don't have to have a STEM undergraduate. You can join the program with any undergraduate major. And also because we are also rebranding into the International Scholars Program. So also you can go there. If you search the International Scholars Program, most likely you won't see it on the first page because the branding is just taking time. Of course, you know, Google SEO and those things.
Yeah.
Sometimes ukisearch itakuja like 4th, 5th page at the moment. But we are hoping by January we should be able to appear like on the first page. So even that one, if you go there, International Scholars Program, you spell it as program, you should be able to find us out there. For anybody out there who want to come and talk to our team, our customer service is here. We have a very competent team that is ready to, you know, answer your questions, you know, whatever burning questions that you may have. Tuko hapa, we are based in Westlands at the Mirage, 8th floor, suite 01. So once you come here, just come all the way to the 8th floor and then you'll find our team here. We're also located in Meru. Actually, Meru is our biggest office. That's where we do all the operations, our career advisory
Charity
team.
begins at home, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where I grew up, you know. So I just wanted to have our operations team there. So we have our biggest office is there actually. So here, kwenye tuko saizi, so here we just have our customer service to handle all the inquiries that come in, and then mostly the guys that you've seen, all those are engineers, guys working on our systems and all those things. So Meru ndio, our Meru office is 3 times as big as this. Yeah, and then of course also we have an office in the US. I live in a city called Tampa, in a state called Florida. And that's why we have an office. So we have a team over there as well. And that team normally handles all the issues on the other side. Student akifika huko, we normally visit students at their schools, get to know what they are going through, all those things. Just coordinating everything. So you have a team over there as well.
That is great.
Yeah.
I think we are done.
Yes.
Just give us your final remarks.
Asanteni sana.
Alafu sisi wenye tunataka kwenda US to wish all the best.
Yeah, so asante sana. Thanks so much for coming. I really appreciate you coming over here. I know even kukuita, by the way, it was on a very short notice. But you're always willing to, you know, to come quickly and get this all sorted out. So thank you so much. So wewe ukienda huko, because you have a huge audience, ambie kila mtu bana aingie kwa program, akuje tumpeleke majuu.
Yes.
Yeah, asante sana. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Tumeshukuru sana.
Okay.
Tukikuja, umesema ni Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida.
Tutaonana.
Wewe kuja huko nitakuonyesha vichorochoro.
Hata mimi nataka kurelocate.
Sawa.
But Kenya ni kuzuri pia.
By the way, Kenya,
ukiwa kwa hiyo ofisi yako you can see the city.
by the way, it's a very nice office with a lot of really nice views. Naona huko this is
This is Westlands, then
Westlands na huko Riverside.
ukielekea huko Kilimani, Kileleshwa.
Very nice place. By the way, Kenya is doing very well. In as much as tuko on our own issues. Sometimes when you go to especially these other African countries, you'll find Kenya tuko mbele.
Sana.
Tuko
mbele sana. Actually, I was having a conversation with a certain lady yesterday.
Yeah.
Akiniambia Kenya kuna pesa sana. Ni vile watu hawajui kuzitafuta.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Bob, for your time.
Thank you very much.
So guys, nimekuwa nikipiga story na Bob Mwiti. He is on Facebook, he is on Twitter, he is everywhere. Ukitaka kumfikia, nitakuwekea link pale chini, uingie pale kwa website, umpigie story naye, ujue utafika United States aje. Thank you so much guys for watching. Mambo ni mengi, muda ni mchache. For now it is a bye bye. I will see you on the next one.